Hey everybody, it's Original Ren and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you a video on how to properly stuff, in my opinion, dakimakura, especially official Comiket ones, and I'm going to be using some polyfill here today and kind of just going to be going through the steps on how I believe you should properly stuff your dakimakura. This is a great video for those of you who like to buy body pillows and want to save some money. My own personal opinion and how you can professionally stuff them and they'll be extremely comfortable. Now the first thing here I'm going to show you is most people here, and this is an official Cospa dakimakura cover, so I'm using actual covers from Comiket and Japan to actually showcase this. Now this first cover here is Chino from Gojuman, and this is an official Cospa one. Now you'll notice that when I get closer into the screen here, the material on this is not stretchy. Official Comiket dakimakura will usually have stretch material. Now this is, I think, a two-way tricot is the actual material that's used in this daki. And it's not stuffed right now, but essentially most people will buy the cover. Now the cover itself is the expensive part. This cover costs 10,000 yen. Dakimakura can cost anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 yen, depending on the ones you get. Comiket ones can cost somewhere in between there. If you're getting extremely rare ones, such as Chino from Gojuman, who is an extremely rare character, you may find dakimakura as much as 40,000 yen or 60,000 yen. And that's pretty expensive if you think about it, but this one is not a stretchy material. Now that being said, normally people will buy the cover, and essentially at the bottom there will be a zipper, and when you unzip it you can stuff it with the material if you'd like, which I personally do because it does save money, or you can actually put a already pre-made pillow and that you wrap the cover around. Now if you do get a professionally done pillow, yes, it will probably be better than your own stuffing ability. However, it can cost an atrocious amount of money. I bought a 10-pound bag of polyfill here. I picked it up from Michael's in the United States. For those of you who don't watch my channel and aren't from the United States, any kind of teddy bear stuffing, it looks a lot like this, the kind of material where you have teddy bear stuffing. I bought a 40-pound bag, or sorry, a 10-pound bag for about $35, right? And that covered 3.5 pillows at 160 centimeters by 50 centimeters, which is bigger than the standard. This one from Cospa official being 150 by 55, I believe it is. I don't remember the exact specifications, but it's about 10 centimeters shorter. Now that being said, obviously if you have a 160 by 50 or you have a 150 by, I believe it's 55, I want to say, then the sizes will differ. So you will need to get, if you do buy like the pre-made body pillows, you will need to buy about another $60 pillow. So not only are you getting a 10,000 yen dakimakura cover, which is what this one would cost, for example, but you're also paying an additional about 60 bucks for an actual pillow. So you're paying almost, you know, and with all the shipping and stuff, you're paying probably over $200 or around $200 with exchange rate. So about 20,000 yen, 21,000 yen, I'd say, for all the material. Now that's expensive, and for one daki pillow, that's not a lot, especially since you can only buy like one at a time. And that's fine, some collectors like to do that, but I personally have gotten into stuffing them and how it can be a lot cheaper. So you stuff 3.5 pillows with just the polyfill. Yeah, you're still going to be paying for the covers, but you can actually make them a lot more comfy, in my opinion. So one of the ones I'm going to show you here is this Row 500 pillow. Now this is an official Comiket daki, and it was from the Circle Private Garden, I believe was the name of the circle. This was Comiket 89 or 88, I don't remember the one it was. And I picked this one up. And this material, now there is some not safe for work images on the back, so I'll try to avoid those. This material, usually official Comiket material, that is quite different than the Chino one, and this one's already kind of pre-stuffed. To show you some examples, you can tell this material has a little more stretch to it. When I pull it, it has the kind of stretchy material to it. So this is the kind of material that like official Comiket dakis will be made out of. You'll know they're authentic if they have that kind of stretch material to it. In addition, obviously the image, you'll just need to know the image. So these are authentic dakimakura because usually they have the kind of, see if I pull it, kind of stretches. That won't happen with the Chino one I was just showing you there. But now essentially if we look at this, this is an example of, I'm going to restuff this to kind of show you. Now you can see at the side here, it looks pretty decent, right? It has, you know, its consistency, it's pretty soft, it looks like it's stuffed fine, it looks like it's a fine pillow, right? No real problems here. It's a little more stuffed on the bottom here, a little better. But what I'm going to show you here is why this is a bad stuffing. The best way to tell if you've stuffed your dakimakura correctly, especially with polyfill, is to put it on its side like this and kind of make a test like this. Now it should bend, that's fine. But when I push down on this gravity pressure point, you'll notice that there's just this kind of, it's flat. It flattens out. And you can see my finger right there, right? It kind of separates itself in the material. If I go over here at the bottom where it's more stuffed, it's a little bit better. You can see that when I start pushing down, there's a little more fluff to it. But it's still not consistent across the entire Daki. And so when I go up here, there's a flat part. When I go up here, it's kind of, yeah, again, I can like make a clapping sound. It's not consistent here. So this needs to be stuffed a little more. And we're going to do that in a second. I'll show you an example of a good stuffed dakimakura, at least in my opinion. Now, it's never going to be perfect because everyone has their own preference for how they want to, in this case, stuff their pillows. I mean, some people like pillows more soft. I personally prefer them, you know, at a good consistency. I'm going to use this chino one from Gochumon. Another official dakimakura one, you can tell it still stretches. But the one with this one here is this is a lot more consistent. Now, if I look at it on the side, you can see, yeah, it's a little bit better. It's not perfect because when we get to the bottom, there's a little more thickness on the bottom here. But if I start doing, for example, this one and put it over my hand, notice how it kind of has the bending feeling to it. It can still bend. There's consistency here. If I put my hand here, consistency. Put my hand here, consistency. It doesn't matter where I put my hand, as long as I can balance it, you'll feel the consistency in the pillow. And that's an example of a good consistency for a Daki. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how you can stuff the row to fix it, to make it more like that. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to stuff it. And the best way to do that is to flip over your pillow, go to the zipper side, and this one's already a little bit pre-stuffed, so obviously you'll do this a couple times. Now you'll notice a lot of the material flattens out and becomes the shape you want it to be inside the pillow. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it all down to the bottom and give myself some stuffing, or give it some stuff, and kind of shake it. You kind of just jiggle it like this, you know, shake it in a way because it's stretchy enough that all the material will start falling down to the bottom, the where you want it. And then you have this wide open space here on the top that hasn't been filled yet. Now we take some polyfill. Now, the bad part about polyfill is it's very clumpy when you pick it up. So when you start stuffing, you'll start feeling those bumps in those kind of clump areas where it doesn't stay consistent, but that's okay. We'll fix that. There's a way to fix that. So right now I'm just going to kind of stuff it, and I take a gauge, you know. I don't actually know how much you want to stuff. You take some guesses. You kind of just use, you know, little bits at a time, break it up into pieces, and kind of go, okay, you know, I want to fill this out, but I don't want it to be too stuffed, because I want to be able to flatten it out. I'll do a little bit more here. We stuff it in like that. It's all good, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip it. And the first step you want to do here is flip it and start shaking it out. So you want to kind of grab the top like this and dump it all into the bottom. Then you want to flip it again and keep doing that back and forth a couple times. So it kind of consistently evens itself out in a way. Now it's not going to be perfect because we're going to do one other thing after this to make it better. Essentially I'm shaking it all down, I flip it again, I shake it all down. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to flatten the pillow. And I'm going to show you a good example of this. This is where you're actually going to look like you're actually having sex with your pillow, which is quite hilarious, because this is how you actually consistently get the material to flow in it. So I'm going to adjust the camera here a little bit, and then we can go down here and I'll show you what I'm doing, okay? Okay, so what I've done here is I've brought it down to the bottom, and what I'm going to do is kind of show you how to flatten this out so it stays consistent. Now the first thing you want to do is after you've done that shaking material, you want to get to the end of it, and you kind of want to start pushing down, and you want to consistently push down on the pillow while putting your knees on the previous section, and then slowly working your way up the pillow, like so. And you want to kind of try to roll it and knead it so it stays consistent throughout the pillow. Because when you do this, it essentially flattens it out, makes it more material. Now this is the point where, you know, when you start doing this, you'll start realizing, okay, maybe I stuffed a little too little. And we can flip it like so. And do the same thing to this side. And you can punch it, you know, any way you want to do this when you want to knead it in to kind of keep it consistent. Okay, you know, it's a lot better now. Now, when we actually start comparing it, and for example, now, if I look at it, to me it looks a lot better. Put it next to my chino, And it's actually pretty even in consistency. I don't see really any issues with it. So for example, now Chino has a little more material in it, but essentially you get to judge your own soft level. You know, when you lay on this, is it going to be comfy? For example, this is extremely comfy, and I kind of just want to fall over and fall asleep. But depending on how you want to stuff it, and you can stuff more if you want, but try not to keep it too big. And the material that is official comic kit material is a lot easier to stuff. It's more consistent. It gives you a better option. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these out here and I'll show you kind of how I stuff them, and then we'll wrap up the video, okay? Awesome. Now sadly I did not do as good as I wanted to with the Konami pillow in the center from Koigasaku. But for the most part, they're pretty evenly consistent. Like if we get down on this level, you can see they're pretty even. They're not going to be perfect. There's a little bit of stuff problems with that one and that one and that one. But I mean, overall, if you compare the pillows side by side, I mean, you do have a pretty consistent size for each one. And essentially, they're pretty flat. They're not, you know, they don't have huge sections that are just kind of like falling apart. So overall, I think it did a pretty good job. You know, it's not terrible, but it gets the job done. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about how I stuffed Daki and my other 3 that are currently coming in the mail right now, shoot me some questions and leave some comments. I'm trying to make more educational videos for material from Japan and how to deal with it. And yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. Peace out.